Read this quickly.
Imagine if we couldn't see. What's the main thing here?
So in
Attacks of the head,
2020
such as stomping, to be classified as attempted murder. Where's the source?
So this is a
What's the source?
parliamentary. When you send off what do you call it? A petition.
Oh,
To
okay.
the parliament.
So it says this petition was rejected on the 11th of September 2020 for not being a government or parliamentary matter.
So read this. Bro.
So what does that mean?
So it says we can't accept your petition because the UK government and Parliament
Aren't
aren't
responsible for the issue.
you raised. Decisions on what constitutes attempted murder is a matter for the police, prosecuting authorities, and the court.
Stop.
What?
Wait, stop. So let me just read that. Decisions on what constitutes as attempted murder is a matter for the police, prosecuting authorities, and the courts based on the specific case, the specifics of the case. So that means in
That's
this
not
context, it isn't fair.
That's not fair, bro. How can the people that can do it make the law for it? It should be like, for example, a group of individuals, everybody goes, these are the laws, and then they go, all right, since these are the laws, police, you make sure that we protect these laws. You're basically saying to the very people that can actually be aggressors, you police, you tell us how far is far. So then that way they can get away with it. That's mad, bro.
It's mad that they can do that, but I guess the prosecuting authorities would then make it. That makes the most sense though, because that is court stuff.
What do you mean?
Do you get what I'm saying? So in the court, they are the ones. It's different to the police, innit? They look at the matter and they will say, okay, is this attempted murder or not? Judging by their principles of the law that they study, not by the police. So the police can turn around and say, this police officer can turn around and say, look, this was a situation that I was in and I felt like I needed to do it for X, Y, and Z or whatever, yeah. But the court, the prosecuting authorities will dash that aside. They will look at that for exactly what that is.
There's a law that,
and then what ends up happening is they will then label that. Let's say, for example, they will label that as attempted murder. Then when it goes into court, you are then judged by your peers, isn't it? It's like people of your community that will then, you go through the court process, and it will be for them to turn around and say, was it attempted murder or was it not? And that's where the game starts, because the prosecutor, and the defense are now having to persuade or to talk to the jury on.
Basically saying it's not this.
Yeah, so the prosecutor will say, this is why we believe it is attempted murder, and the defense will turn around and say, well, this is why it isn't, and the jury will then at the end of it turn around and say, boom. But I think you should take the police out of that.
Yeah, read that.
I think in this context, you have to take the police out of it because it was the police that did it.
That's what makes it confusing, Chucky. It makes it feel like, whoa, that's mad.
Whether an act is attempted murder is based on the intent of the actions rather than the type of the action.
So what's the intent of kicking your head once I've got you on the floor?
Right.
Well, he can always make an argument, innit?
What would the argument be?
Obviously,
objectively.
Not to say that you're a bad person, so you just know the argument, but just out of curiosity.
Off the top of my head, he could be like, he tried to use his head. He tried to lift his body up.
Nah. I'm
not saying that. They're gonna find anything to say.
No, I'm hearing you. You're not saying that's the argument. You're saying that's what they could say. I hear you.
That's what they would.
And do you know what? For everyone at home, if that's what you would say, you heard the reaction. Change it. Change it.
That's attempted murder.
Change it. Of course, it's attempted murder. I've watched American History X. That's attempted murder.
Yeah, bro, that's crazy.
There's no other reason to kick somebody in the head than to incapacitate them, bro.
Bro?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no other reason.
And do you know what it is? It looks like what's one thing I don't believe you should implement when working in that job. It looked like an emotional reaction.
Of course it was. That's the pink in the face.
That's it.
That's why for me, instantly, the moment your emotions are involved in something where you're dealing with a large group of people and their safety, I don't believe you're an adequate member of this team here. I don't think you should be working because you genuinely believe your emotional state is more important than the safety of the public, despite the fact your job is here to serve and protect. It doesn't make sense.
I'll tell you what would make sense though.
What?
If so you said that the guy did assault an officer, right?
Yeah.
If he was chopping that officer.
What are you talking about?
If the guy was chopping that officer, the girl, and then the girl got hit, you lost your head, right?
Either way, he's lost.
Either
his head,
way.
bro. But if
Because now you're justifying his emotion.
I'm not justifying.
I'm saying.
I'm saying that I can't see a reason why you would taser a guy. He's on the floor and kick him.
Oh, I gave you the reason.
No, the only thing I can think of.
Ray, say it with me.
Ray.
Ray.
Not necessarily though. But I hear it. I'm with you, but not necessarily. He could have just lost his head, and that's bad.
Yeah.
You can't in that situation you just can't do that. There isn't a context that you just can't do that.
But Chucky, if you watch the video back, sorry to cut you. If you watch the video back here, I can always be like, in the heat of the moment, I see why you lose your head when someone triggers you.
Yeah.
And I've watched the video, and I'm saying, if you're a police officer, in terms of verbal insults and all of that, you can't tell me you're triggered by that today. Get out, go Twitter, go anywhere, police get abused. There's songs abusing you lot. So don't tell me, from what I can see, that anything happened where you're triggered. For me, the reason why I say it racist is not because he's kicked his head when he's on the floor. It's like, if you were having a fight, an altercation, and that was the end part of it, fair enough. My guy is standing there looking like a complete victim, and you look like the aggressor. And not only do you throw him to the floor, but after you were in a position of strength, I'm standing up, you're on the floor, on your belly, my guy. I kick you.
Yeah.
My nigga, I don't even think you would treat a dog like that, my guy. Like, you're treating a human being worse than an ant, dirt, flies. To me, that's a hatred. That's not a I don't like this person. That's not and you don't know this person to even be that invested in that person in the first place. So it makes me go, for you to be that invested in a human being has nothing to do with what he's done. There's something more. But you don't know this guy.
No. I think as well, is that like it's the argument can be that there's an evident level of like the way that he's dealt with him like he's inferior.
Bro.
Do you get what I'm saying? It's like the way that he's handled him is, I'm here and you're a cockroach. Do you get what I'm saying? When you look at like some of the war crimes of what's happened in the past, of course, like people are going out there risking their life for countries and whatever else, But sometimes in that, when you look at what some of these soldiers have ended up going and doing to the people that live in the countries, it's mental. And the reason being that they're doing that is because they put themselves in a mindset of, you are a cockroach. You're not even a human being to me. So that's why it's easy for them to put themselves in that mode to do that. Yeah. It's dangerous. It's mad.
It's not even worse than a cockroach.
Imagine what happens when you can't see. Imagine what happens when you can't see.
I think you're not even a cockroach. You know what I think you are? A statistic and a write-up, bro.
Yeah.
We arrested 70% of the people that we whatever, and let's do a write-up on the people that we did it with. I feel like in your job, everybody has objectives that they need to meet. That look like maybe you haven't met all your objectives this month as well. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I just don't understand how people deal with people like that. It's just very, very confusing. When you deal with someone like they're a product, or like they're a number, or they're a statistic, or a write-up, you have completely blocked out just the human aspect of what's going on. Can we talk about this? That's just gone out the window. Because in your mind, brown, ethnic minority, 46% of these people commit this type of crime. Those are all the things that's in your mind. Not who's this, is he alright, what did he do wrong? All this information from your job. He just becomes a product, a statistic. That's an issue. But it's an issue with people across the board. I can't just give it to police. It's an issue with people at record labels. It's an issue with people at the petrol station when they go and they see a man come out with a big whip. They might think he's just going to drive off and not pay for it. It's an issue with people everywhere. In their respective field, they treat people like according to their stereotype sometimes. And it's just a little bit exhausting now, man.
I hear that.
Sorry.
I was going to say, the reason why there's space for stuff like this to happen is because there's a lack of repercussions for the feds.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
That's why I'm saying they got to, like, in this situation here, bro, this has to happen in front of everyone. The repercussions has to happen in front of everyone. And then also, more so importantly, in front of the police too, to let them know, regardless of whether we are underfunded or not, if it has to be that there's going to be less of us, then it has to be less of us than to be doing this, because we can potentially put the country in a situation where people are going to touch the road again. And then what happens when people touch the road and there isn't even enough of you anyway? That's when it gets even more mad.
I say let's do a boxing match of KSI. That's my new
What?
Yeah.
Who?
If you racially attack someone, you
Well,
have to
go
have a boxing match of KSI.
KSI. I hear it loudly.
Just so we can increase his undefeated record, so we can smack someone up. Because KSI has got energy. He's out here punching up boxers. So imagine what he'll do to the racists. I think you have to have a boxing match with KSI.